England have won the World Cup by the barest of margins. By the barest of all margins.
Carlos Brathwaite! Carlos Brathwaite! Remember the name!
And a happy new year to everyone. Welcome to the first edition of the First Class Cricket Academy podcast. In today's podcast, we will be talking about how the game has changed, and also, is there any point in the 100 ball format, and why has the Big Bash introduced new rules regarding substitute fielders? Well, here to discuss it with me today is Raj, head of First Class Cricket Academy, and also Thea Rivers, who is a coach at First Class and also plays for Rothbury Cricket Club. Let's get started.
How are we doing, guys?
All good. Happy New Year to you.
All good, Avas. Hi, Rog. Avas, you right?
Yeah, not bad, you?
Yeah, no, I'm all good, thank you.
Great. So, one of the big discussions in cricket right now is the game has changed so much. So, Thea, what are your thoughts on what's changed and what would you do to address it?
Well, I mean, I'm 27 years old and I remember the game seems to change a lot now. Now it seems to be lots of T20 cricket, lots of T20 leagues, T10 leagues, and those sort of tournaments like the IPL, Big Bash, the 100 when it comes in, they now seem to be taking more of a central part to the cricket sort of calendar, and they're the sort of main, in a way, the sort of main series or main tournaments to be involved in for players these days.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be much more emphasis on county cricket, especially in England, international test series, which would be over maybe a 5 test series or even 6. Now it's sort of a 3 test series, so we can get more T20 games in and more one-day games in. So watching cricket now, and I still watch it all the time, and I'd watch anything, but watching T20 cricket seems to be the thing that's getting people to the game these days. They're trying to make that as accessible to everyone as possible and sort of forgetting about the longer formats, which me as a cricket lover want to watch more of. But I want it to be of a good standard, the test matches.
Raj, do you agree with what Theo said, or do you got anything to add?
No, I would agree that this seems the story as we see cricket evolving, but I don't know whether it's for the good of the game or bad for the game, because I find it quite boring to watch T20 in shorter format all the time. Like, the last Ashes in England, it was great to watch this series currently between Australia and India going on. It's fantastic to watch. And I'm a bit confused as why we need to watch only one-sided cricket. Because if you see the white ball cricket that is going on at the moment, it's like lambs to the slaughter for the bowlers. And you just go there and watch the bowlers being taken to the cleaners. So it's almost like watching a boxing game where one person's hands are tied behind his back and the other person is allowed to just continue hitting him. So, it's getting to that stage. But the moment it comes down to the longer format, it becomes a lot more interesting. Yeah. So I have a feeling it is all being done just because you want the guy who has no idea of cricket to the ground. But how far this is sustainable, I have my doubts on that.
Do you think the ICC and ECB are sort of killing the game, Raj, or would you say they're promoting it?
I'm not sure what they're doing, because if you go back in history a bit, see, nothing in this world is done without any thought. Okay, there must be some thought going behind it. Now, you go back to history of how the game has changed over the few years now, and I'll ask you guys to make the decision, right? 70s and 80s, who dominated world cricket? West Indies?
West Indies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What was the main weapon of the West Indies that helped them dominate?
Bouncer.
They're bowlers.
Their fast bowlers.
Yeah.
Right. A quartet of fast bowlers. What was the main weapon of the West Indies pace battery? The bouncer.
Bouncer.
Right. So what did the ICC do?
Take
They
it out.
curtailed the bouncer. They restricted the bouncer.
Mm.
They never went to any batsman and said, okay, you can only hit 2 boundaries and over,
Yeah.
or you're not allowed to hit more than 1 6 and over. But they went to the bowlers and said 2 bounces per batsman. So firstly, you have taken away the batsman's main concern of getting hit. Now I can come on the front foot because 2 have gone past my face.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did they do? They actually controlled the West Indies dominance. Okay. Next, obviously, West Indies cricket survived, but obviously it is not the quality that it was in the 70s, 80s, though they have had some fantastic players. Then fast forward to the 90s and 2000. Who dominated?
Australia.
Australia. Right. Nothing changed in the game because Australians are allowed to dominate. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
However, there was something going on at the same time, which was in the one-day format, the subcontinent teams had suddenly got very dominant. Okay? Now, there is a difference between how England, Australia play their cricket and how the subcontinent teams play their cricket. The style is different. The method is different. It is more attritional cricket, right? So what happened? 83 India won World Cup. 87 Australia won World Cup. 92 Pakistan. 96 Sri Lanka. Then again, 99 it was Australia-Pakistan final. 2003 it was Australia-India final. Then again, it comes to 2011, India wins it. So what was the main thing that the subcontinent teams dominated it with? Subcontinent teams had a few weapons up their sleeve, which was they played an extra batsman. Okay. And what they did was mainly play 4 bowlers and 2 batsmen filled in 10 overs. Okay, so whether it was Sachin and Saurav, or whether it was Sehwag and Sachin, or whether it was Yuvraj and Sehwag, but there were 2 spinners who were mainly batsmen who could come in and get through it. 10 overs.
See,
Right.
Theo, would you say that to bowl now is harder than it used to be then, Theo? Would you say as a bowler you're disadvantaged, or do you think it's so similar?
Yeah, I mean, watching bowlers now, especially one-day cricket, what Raj was talking about there, is the white ball doesn't do anything.
No.
The white ball doesn't swing, doesn't seam. The only game it did do something was the World Cup final in 2019.
Yeah. What I was saying with that is, say, there's a reason why it doesn't do it. Now, so you had 2 batsmen filling in that 10 overs. Then the second part of the subcontinent strength was reverse swing.
Reverse swing, yeah.
Okay. And the third one was get the ball soft as quickly as possible so that the spinners can come into the game. And if you get one side roughed up, you can reverse swing. Yeah. So what did the ICC do? They introduced
2 new balls.
Two white balls and so many power plays so that you could not get a part-timer bowling and filling in 10 overs. Yeah. Because Yuvraj Singh is fine to bowl, or Jay Surya or Dilshan is okay to bowl with 5 out, but to bowl with 4 out, that is impossible for a part-time bowler. It is impossible.
Well, do you think that's because the ICC want 50 overs of boundaries? They want...
Yeah, I agree.
They think that entertainment means boundaries and more runs. So now you've seen loads of scores over 300.
But teams now people say India dominate ICC because India has got the money power. I disagree. If the moment the game gets physical and it's all about boundaries and sixes, right? There are two teams which get favored.
England being one.
There are two teams that get favored.
England, Australia.
Simple.
Yeah.
You answered it.
Mm.
It is the way to keep those sides out of it.
But what I get a feeling of is they want more people watching, and they think that if they see boundaries and sixes and fours and ball going out the ground, that's going to get people to watch.
Here, I'll tell you what is going to happen. It's like the Church of England. Okay. So there was a certain crowd that went to the church every morning on Sunday mornings. Right. The numbers started dwindling. Okay. So they thought they'll get singers into the church. Right. They got the singers into the church. Right. And what happened was the daily crowd left. The guys who were regulars, they left. So people like me and you are the actual lovers of the game. Your life has gone in the game. My life has gone in the game. Right. But if we leave, there is a problem. The Polish car wash guy comes in, okay, for one T20 game, gets smashed with 8 beers, goes home. He won't come the second time because he doesn't have a clue what's going on. But you are turning away the actual cricket lovers. World Cup final was 214. Everyone got entertained. You don't need boundaries for entertainment.
No.
You
And
need
even
a
that
game for entertainment.
Yeah, and that Ashes series last year, most of the games went into the fifth day of the test.
Yeah.
Because the bowling was strong on both sides. The economy rates were low. All the runs in the over were they're going at 2 and over because the bowling was so good. And it was proper test cricket. The batsmen had to work hard for their runs and hundreds. It wasn't just bowler just serves up and gifting a test match 100 to them, whatever. It was proper. It was good cricket.
Exactly.
So Theo, so obviously the Big Bash is going on at the moment, and one of the some big features this year is that they've new substitute fielders that can come on and bowl. Do you think that's right?
I mean,
or is that taking the point away from the game? Because the 12th man's not going to come on the pitch and start having a bowl.
I guess the Big Bash has had what is this the 10th year of the Big Bash?
Yeah.
So it's had 9 previous seasons doing the same thing, and probably even people in Australia are probably getting a bit bored of the product. So they've got to keep trying to find ways to renew it and keep finding new ways to make it relevant to something else. And the new the sub fielders come on, and the other things they've done are just to try to keep it interesting. I mean, I don't see the point in subbing off. What's the point of subbing off a player?
You pick 20 as well. It's not exactly very long, is it?
You pick your 11 players. That's your pick. But I think they're trying to make it more of a coach's thing, like an American thing, where there's lots of stop starts and the coaches have big important decisions to make, rather than just letting the coach pick a side. Let the captain deal with the game and play. But I think they're trying to find ways to just keep it.
You're trying to create employment. That's it.
Yeah. Well, because if the 8 coaches of the teams have a big impact in the games, then their profile will go up. They all of a sudden get a job on the IPL. They all of a sudden get a job at wherever. So it's trying to raise everyone's profile, but also trying to keep it. I think they're probably looking for something different as well. They're thinking, if we're just doing the same as the IPL and the other leagues, then what's the difference in our one other than it's in a different country? So that's what the 100 have done, isn't it? The ECB have gone, we're going to try and make something different because we don't want to be the same as everyone else. And they're trying a new format. So
I don't think that's the case. I would disagree with it. I think what the ECB are feeling is, we missed the boat. We didn't patent T20 cricket.
Yeah. So they're now trying to get ahead of it and reinvent a new thing that is different. That they go, that was our idea.
Yeah, and that's why they have patented it and whatever. But one thing you got to understand is that amongst all the T20 leagues that happen in the world, some are very average to watch, and they're in fact unwatchable on TV also.
Yeah.
And out of all of them, IPL seems to be the most popular. Now, there is a reason why IPL is popular,
Yeah.
and not one, a few reasons. The first
Couple.
one, the weather.
Mm.
The second one is in a country of 1 billion people, right? So you've got viewership straight away. And there are a few things which sell in India. Number one is politics. Number two is Bollywood. Number three is cricket. And number four is religion. These are the four things that sell in India. Okay. And IPL is the perfect marriage of Bollywood and cricket. Okay. And that's the reason IPL sells. When you watch IPL, go and see how many times you got this massive crowd. They're not watching the game.
No.
They're just
Just there for
taking
entertainment.
and watching the cheer girls. So it's nothing to do with the cricket part.
Yeah.
But a lot of people
Right,
don't get.
would you say the IPL is more about money now than anything?
Yeah, 100%.
Mm.
But I would say one thing: there are, like in everything you do, whether it's good, bad, ugly, there will be some positives. And one of the biggest positives that has come from the IPL is the young Indian player, because he is sharing the dressing room with superstars from other nations, is no longer in awe of the big player when he comes to compete
When they go to that level.
at the international level. Number one. Number two, because he is well looked after on the money front, right? He has a lot of freedom to play his cricket rather than thinking, oh, I have to sort out a career and, I
Yeah.
need to get picked for the next match to make sure I'm in the side, and all the rest of insecurities that players, we all went through when we were playing. But the modern player doesn't have it, because if he gets two decent gigs, he's sorted for life.
So, would you, going back onto the 100 ball, would you say it's a big mistake from the ECB and ICC, or do you think it's going to help the game, or is it a waste of time?
I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see what it's like when it starts. But I mean, what they've done well is they've tried to get the England players playing in it. They've tried to get an England player per side, which is important because, like the IPL it has four or five top international players per team in it. Whereas you look at the T20 Blast or whatever it's called these days, even the Big Bash this winter, you're watching the games and there aren't enough good players playing in it.
No.
So then the quality of the product is poor, and then if you put a poor pitch on that, then it's even worse. So it's the 100. What they've done well is they've got the England players playing in the side. They've got overseas players coming in, so they've tried to address the quality of it. Whether the 100, why is it not just T20? I don't know, but I mean, I guess you'll have to wait and see what it's like after this season.
I suppose you're literally walking in the ground to watch 100 balls, or first innings, and your second innings, and you're out the ground again. You're in and out in seconds.
Yeah, it's not about
not really about.
So much.
Yeah, exactly. Raj, do you think the 100 is a waste of time?
I have my reservations about it. I've got no intentions in watching something which is trying to modify or tinker with the original format. What's the difference? How is 20 balls less going to make any difference? Why do you make it a 10 ball over? And I was told that it is very complicated for some people to understand the difference between 6 and 10. I'm sorry, if that is the IQ of the people you are going to cater to, I don't have anything to say.
Well, that's the thing. Who's the tournament trying to? What's the purpose of the tournament basically? Is it to produce decent players where, like in the IPL Raj said, you got young players mixing with the good players so it's easy to learn from them? Or is it just literally get 11 players out on the pitch, get the game over with a couple of 6s and 4s in there? So
yeah, it's all about for the social aspect, I think. But from a crowd point of view, I think you go in there, you want to hit most of that crowd will want to go and watch 4s and 6s, and a 2 off the last ball, 2 to win. I suppose that's what they want to go and watch really now, isn't it?
They want to see a ball go down to the death. Yeah, they want to see it. They want to see it so the game doesn't finish early. Which is, that's one thing that's crept into Test cricket is there's too many 3-day Test matches now, 4-day Test matches. There's too many one-sided Test matches.
Why is it? Why is it then? Why is it so many?
Because teams can't play away from home.
Okay, and what are the technical reasons for that?
Well,
who's to back?
Well, it's the amount of white ball cricket going on, where batsmen don't face more than 40 balls in an innings. If you face 50 balls and make 70, you've done your job. In a one ball.
Exactly.
You know what would have been really interesting to see? To see a white ball in Duke's ball.
Well, see what it does.
The game will change. The game will become interesting.
But then you look at even the modern day test. Raj, you look at the modern day test players. You just see how they strike a ball now. Their foot is going so away from the ball. It's unreal. You saw Prithvi Shaw's dismissal in the India game. His foot and his hands were coming from nowhere. You can just see that the limited game has impacted the test game with him.
Yeah, it's impacting the game in a wrong way, isn't it? I was saying to someone the other day, the basic job of an opening batsman is to make sure his off stumps are covered.
Yeah.
And you see opening batsmen defending, and you can see their off and middle stump. How's that right? I can give you an analogy. If you go to an English teacher, right? To start learning how to write a sentence. 50 years ago, he or she would have told you that if you write the letter I, after that, you have to write am, will, shall. Okay? And 100 years down the line, she will tell you or he will tell you the same. Right?
Yep.
You can't write I is or I are. There are certain basics you have to follow. This corporate guys who are trying to take over cricket are trying to take over the basics of the game. That's the
sorry, Bas, but the way into like a test team now is doing well in a T20 side or a one-day side. If you get one-day runs, all of a sudden you're in a test team. Whereas it used to be the other way around, didn't it? It used to be you got on the test team and then you might end up playing a few one-day games.
Well, look at Jason Roy. Just because he got runs in that World Cup, he was automatically in that Ireland Test series and made it way into the into some of the Ashes series because he did well in white ball cricket. Yeah. Raj, is that the right way to go about it?
Well, the two games, the white ball and red ball game now are further. Used to be quite close to each other. Now they're going further and further away.
Yeah.
So the skills for a white ball player now are nothing like what he needs in a test match. His job in a one-day game is to get England off to a good start, get the opening bowlers out there, off their areas, get England off to 6 and over in the first 10 overs at least. In a red ball game, he doesn't even bat. He doesn't even open the bat for Surrey.
Exactly. Yeah. But what do you think about Championship cricket? In this, you see like Australia, the standards. You've played cricket in Australia. The standard, you say, it's so much higher than England. So Premier League cricket compared to some cricket in Australia, you compare our best cricket below Championship level. The standard between that and cricket in Australia, there's quite a difference, would you say?
Well, I think what counties? Well, there's 18 counties for a start, and there's only 6 in Australia. So that's 198 players in county cricket. In Australia, there's 66. So it's more elitist there to play in a state team or than it is to play county cricket. But the county game is it. Well, that's another thing that probably needs addressing because there's too many poor teams in it. There's too many poor games in it. There aren't enough good players involved in it like there used to be. So going to watch a county game, if you're going to watch players who play on a Saturday for a league side, but in a 4-day game, then what's going to attract me to that game? If the best players are involved in it, if they're decent, if there's a good matchup in it, or someone's fighting for an England spot in it, and there's lots of other things on the game, then you'd probably attract more people to the game.
Yeah.
You got to think here. Why was county cricket so attractive? Because
of the players.
The world were playing here.
Yeah.
Okay. The best players, wherever country they were from, those 4 months or 5 months, they were playing in England, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, because of the ICC calendar, you don't get that. So you don't get a overseas player come and play the full season for you. Okay?
No.
Between 5 overseas players almost in course of a season. And your best players, who are the England players, they don't play. So
they're rested or whatever,
Yeah. So why should someone go and watch that?
Yeah.
Now, you put bums on seats because of your gun players, right? Viv Richards facing Richard Hadley is going to put bums on seats, guaranteed, right? So till you have that, you're not going to get what you want. So the economics does not add up.
And probably because you haven't had that, you don't have the players turn up. They have the younger English players haven't got those players to learn from or copy, or if you're in a change room with who's at the moment, if you're in a change room with Steve Smith at the moment, you're going to be following all his moves. You're going to be going, right, how long does he train for? What do you do when a spinner comes on? What do you do when the seam ball's doing this? Yeah. At the moment, the county batting lineups at the moment are poor, which means low scores, and it's been 2-day games.
And look at when they are playing. They're playing early season and late season when the 62-mile bowler can dominate.
Yeah. It's impossible to be a batsman. How are you going to produce opening batsmen or top order batsmen if they're playing in April and September?
Or spinners. How are you going to produce
spinners?
Spinner.
Yeah.
I mean,
try playing the T20 ball format in April.
If you take it and see India, who thought that the Indian fast bowling attack 20-25 years ago is going to be such a quality attack? Now, why has the Indian fast bowling attack got so much better? But the Indian spin quality is not now as good as it used to be. It is mainly because the wickets on which Ranji Trophy is being played nowadays. Previously, we played Ranji Trophy either on flat wickets or we played it on absolute turners. Nowadays, Ranji Trophy is played on absolute green tops. So the fast bowler is in the game for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Also, there is a lot of emphasis on strength and conditioning, so that the bowlers have got stronger. Thirdly, a majority of players are coming from rural areas where they are physically stronger. So or from that segment of the society where they are physically stronger. So that's the few main reasons why the Indian bowling quartet has got so much better.
And I don't, how sort of similar, Raj, but they've said about, in England they should play with a Kookaburra ball, or in Australia play with a Duke's ball, so they can produce test players. But the players playing in the games aren't going to get anywhere near a test side. So what's the point of playing a county championship division 1 or 2 game with a Kookaburra ball? Because the players involved in the game aren't going to be anywhere in an England test squad.
You know what? You can't just write off also any,
Players.
because a player, something might click and a player
Yeah,
might be
yeah,
a
yeah.
completely different player. But what I would say is, when a player grows, when the player is coming up 15, 16, 17, you got to make him ready for three formats. You
Mm.
cannot make everyone a one trick pony, and that is white ball cricket, white ball cricket, white ball cricket.
Mm.
I'll give you a simple example. We do a lot of coaching together. Why is it that when you go to a lot of these other places, no one can play spin? No one can play spin because a boy whose basics are not, or a girl whose basics are not sorted, you're telling that person to go at six and over. So that's like
Yeah.
asking someone to run or sprint before they can walk even or
Mm.
stand.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it has to be steps. You can't jump steps. You can't
Mm.
jump from the first floor to the seventh floor. You have to
Yeah.
walk up the stairs. But
Exactly.
that's what people don't want to do. They only want shortcut to success.
Mm. Right. The last question I'm going to ask you both. First, Theo, then Raj. Do you think in 20 or 15, 20 years' time, Test cricket will still be around, Theo?
Yeah, I think Test cricket will still be around. I think it's not. I think there's too many people that will not want it to be. You know,
Mm. Mm.
it will still be a format, obviously.
But do you think
What
it
I'll
might
get,
change
I think.
as a format?
Well,
That makes sense.
there's now day-night Test matches, isn't there?
Mm.
Day-night games, which is trying to keep it going, keep it relevant, keep fans coming in. I think the Test Championship's quite a good idea because it gives series some sort of context and some structure and something to. There's like an end thing to work towards, rather than because England and Australia will always happen. India series of it with England and Australia will always happen, but those teams like New Zealand, South Africa, Pakistan in a way, West Indies, if they're not given motivation to get better and achieve something, then those players will just go and play T20 and white ball cricket. So I think Test cricket will still be there, but it needs to stay up with the relevance and there needs to be some sort of structure towards it. Otherwise, the only series that will matter will be England v Australia, and England v India, and India v Australia probably.
Raj, what do you think?
See, Test cricket will always be there as long as Theo mentioned, the competition is
It's strong with it, yeah.
strong within the teams playing. There's no point in India playing Zimbabwe or Afghanistan playing Australia, right? There is no way. See, there's something here. Why is all these T20 tournament being favored by the people who run the game? In cricket, when you have a strong team, right? That strong team, whether it is in league cricket, whether it is in first class cricket, whether it is in international cricket, when a strong team plays a weak team over a longer format, there is very little chance for the weak team to come back in the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. You go back and watch history, it doesn't happen. But in a shorter format, anyone can beat anyone. Okay, say for example, if I want to take on the world's number one boxer, I'm not going to go for 6 rounds because I won't last number one and he's going to kill me. Okay, what's going to happen? If I take, one shot each, I might still get away with it. So the weaker team has got the most chances when the shorter the format. That's when the weak, and all this is being done to protect the lowest common denominator. As we said about T20 cricket, why is it being forced up so much? It's only to protect the teams who have been given affiliation, but they don't still come up to that standard. So
Yeah.
if you have
Yeah.
cricket in division, right? Okay, maybe 2 divisions, maybe 3 divisions, and you have promotion relegation, then suddenly Test cricket becomes competitive.
Mm.
What's the point in the number 1 side playing the number 9 side in the world in Test cricket?
No point.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
It's like
Right.
in school, your first team playing the 15 Cs. What's the point?
Yeah.
Exactly. Right, that is it. It's all we got time for. So that's it for our first monthly FCCA podcast. We wish everyone a happy new year and hope to get back coaching as soon as possible.
Carlos Brathwaite! Carlos Brathwaite! Remember the name!